Hi guys, so today we are going to start force and motion for science. So we're going to start with friction. Now, everything on Earth, for the most part, has some kind of friction when motion is involved. So let's just look at the picture. And so that we can think about things that have a lot of friction and things that have less friction. So I want you to think for a second which one of these pictures you would think has friction. And then what you're going to do, because this is on Google Classroom, and when you make a copy, you'll be able to type in. So you're going to just create yourself a little text box, okay? Actually, you know what? Let's do this. You're going to put all your answers in the speaker notes. So if this is my assignment, I'm going to say, I believe, or I think, or I know that picture A has less friction. And then I'm going to go on to explain why, but I'm going to let you guys tell me why. All right. I'm going to go over what friction is, though. So friction is an opposing motion or opposing force to motion. Okay. So it's something that's slowing down your motion. Now, we know, and we're going to talk about inertia in a minute, but we know that an object in motion stays in motion until acted upon by an outside force. And now sometimes that force is invisible to us. So for example, if we push a rolly chair down the hall, it's eventually going to stop, even if nobody touches it. So the invisible force that's acting against it is actually in the floor, right? So the surface of the floor is pushing against the motion of and taking the energy of the motion from the chair. And we know, as we tested in class, that if we push the chair on the rug versus if we push it on the hardwood floor, it's going to go a lot faster on the hardwood floor because there is less friction. Okay. And we did our experiment where when we rub our hands together, it's a little bit slower than if we put hand sanitizer in our hands. Then we can rub them together faster because we've reduced the amount of friction. Okay. And to make up for friction, sometimes we're going to need a little bit extra. And I want you to tell me a little bit extra what right down here. In order to beat friction, that's 2 words. In order to beat friction, we need more. And then you're going to answer that for me right down there. Okay, so these are the kind of questions that you would have seen on the end of grade assessment. So when you come to this question, I want you to go ahead and put your answer right down here in the speaker notes. So a force that resists opposing motion is called what? Now think about what we were just talking about. So let's move on. And our next slide is about gravity. And so you know that gravity is a pull to the earth, right? And that everywhere has gravity, all the planets, depending on how far away from the sun they are. Some planets have more, some planets have less, but there's some kind of gravity everywhere. And gravity is a force. It's important that you remember that it's a force that pulls to the earth. Okay. Now, the only way to defy gravity is to have a continuing force. So, for example, spaceships are able to get out, or airplanes are able to defy gravity because they have a continuing force and energy that supplies that force. All right. Again, you're going to answer this question and go ahead and put it in the speaker box. All right. So, mass versus force. So, now, remember, when we put one of you guys in the chair and pushed it, the roller chair, it was a lot easier than when Miss Rice sat in the chair. So the more mass you have, the more force you need to get it started. And again, you're going to go ahead and answer this question in here, and that's going to be the end of this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Oh, answer number 7 as well. And we will go over 8